Guys, I'm going live. Keep it quiet. I'm going live, guys. Keep it quiet. Hey, guys. Welcome to an impromptu meeting. I had to get something out for everybody today. So let me explain before we get into it. Was on the phone with a dear friend of mine this morning, and it got me to thinking that I needed to get this out sooner than later, since we are the beauty business reset and we are looking to change things when we go back. Well, not only are we going to change things, but this damn virus is going to change things. So, you know, I wanted to get my thoughts out on this today to everybody because it's bothering me. Okay. So what we're looking at here, guys, is if we get back to work, it's not going to be for a little while. I mean, that's the reality. Everybody wants to go back right away. You know, we've all been talking about, you know, the end of this month. And my thoughts on it are we are not going back the end of this month, probably the end of next month or later. Okay. If we are allowed to go back, what they're going to do is they're going to treat us differently, right? They're going to roll back some businesses and others they're going to leave hanging for a little while. So what I want all of you to think about is when you go back, what does the reality of post-COVID look like? And it's not going to be post-COVID. Apparently, they just said this morning, maybe around up until 2022 before we get this whole thing unscrewed. So, and by that, that's going to be the new norm, right? So think of this till 2022 as the new norm, that you're going to be wearing face masks at work. You're going to have to be doing extra precautions, keeping people socially distanced, all of those great things, right? So with that in mind, we've got to be pre-gaming around that. And so the reason for today's lesson is basically to go over what you're going to have to do when you go back. So a couple of things you're going to have to do now is A, you're going to have to either split your stations 6 feet apart. You're going to have to use, or you can use every other station and do split shifts in your salon. So figure out if that's something that you or your staff is willing to do, split shifts 7 days a week, so you can keep the crowd down in the salon and still maximize income. The other thing is maybe you can go out if you have the money, if you get this COVID loan. My suggestion to you would be to put dividers between the stations. They can be a wall if you want. We'll call it a mini suite inside your salon with no door, just two, wall on each side, blocking either customer side off so that there's no interaction between the customers. Or you may look at something like this. I'll share my screen quickly. Bear with me. You might be looking at an acrylic room divider, something like this hanging from the ceiling, or something like this one where it's a panel. There are tons of them out there. There's, all types. I was looking at them this morning to kind of come up with ideas for you. I mean, there's one that's basically the scenario. You could have a chair in between the two acrylic walls, right? So it doesn't have to be ugly, and they're not cheap, I'm going to be honest with you. But if you're getting a COVID loan, I would put some of that money into getting these dividers up between your stations. It's going to be the new norm. Now, if you have treatment rooms, that's a little different because you're already divided off. But if you don't, your stations are, the normal 3 feet from operator to operator, right? Maybe whatever that distance is. you're going to want to get a wall up in between those people, whether it's a temporary acrylic wall or it's a permanent wall, a glass wall, something like that. You know, like I said, you can make it as fancy as you want or as cheap as you want, but you got to get something up because it's, like I said, it's going to kind of be the norm, right? The new norm on this stuff. And I don't want you guys to suffer with regard to that. So keep that in mind. A couple of the other things I want to go over. Obviously, we're going to be wearing masks and gloves. So learning how to cut hair with a pair of black nitrate gloves on, whatever they're called, you better start practicing. You know, we're all used to using our fingers to slide on the hair. Gloves are a little bit difficult sometimes. Get used to cutting with gloves on, okay? Masks, start buying up masks now. Get yourself, my wife and I, we just ordered $100 in masks today that are, they're cyclist face masks. They're called pollution cyclist face masks. And you can put the filters inside of them. So they're a lot more fashion forward than just a standard, you know, emergency room mask. Let's see, the stations we went over. Capes, you're going to want to buy about 3 times the normal amount of capes that you have. So you can rotate them and your assistant can throw them in the dryer in between services. If you have a dryer on high heat, it will kill the COVID virus. That's important, okay? Every client, after every use, cape in the dryer. No reusing capes anymore, okay? Even if you're using a sani strip, no reusing capes, okay? Sani strips will help a lot, obviously, around the neckline. That's going to be important. Think about when clients are in. Clients are going to have to wear a mask. So at some point, when you're doing around their ears or whatever, they are going to have to unmask at that point. So you want to make sure clients aren't sick. You may want to invest in a thermal thermometer, the ones that, you know, you can point at their forehead to make sure they're not running a fever. Turn people away. Don't be afraid to turn sick people away from this point forward. It's for yourself and for others to be safe, okay? Let's see, constant cleaning. You know, right before this, everybody was on the clean spree, right? We were, you know, a lot of people are still getting their barbicide certification. Get your barbicide certification. If you haven't already, make sure as soon as you get back, you have barbicide everywhere. Everything is getting wiped down. You can dilute barbicide and use it as a general cleaner. You know, you want your place to be scrubbed after every client. So you're going to have to allot a couple minutes in there too after every client. There's no more where you're going to be throwing them in the chair, throwing them in the chair. It's not going to happen, okay? It's going to cut back on our income, but I have a way around that also, okay? So let's see, constant cleaning, ozone generators. So I know one of my clients ordered these already. An ozone generator is basically a system that puts ozone in the air at night when your salon is closed and kills all viruses. No one can be in the salon when they are running. They don't squirt a mist, but they recycle ions in the air that are dangerous to people and animals if you're in there, but they shut themselves off in the morning. They won't kill you as soon as you walk in and breathe if you have to shut it off manually, but you can't be around them on a regular basis. So they have timers on them that run at night, and I had to use them in one of the spas I coached because the spa would constantly get mold from the steam rooms everywhere. As soon as we started using these, it killed the mold instantly. So they do work and they do kill viruses. So that's a good thing. Remember, client mask up, mandatory for now on. Our clients are masked. They get unmasked if they're okay and are not running a fever. If they're running a fever, send them home. Susie, I have to see you next time. Okay. Let's see. Okay, here's the big one. Because our staff is going to be running around cleaning more, we're going to be spacing out our appointments a little more. It's going to cost us money. So, you know, a lot of people have talked, and I even talked a little bit about this, but I thought more about it, and it's definitely going to be an easy thing to do. And that's not to raise your prices, keep your service prices where they are, but do a COVID surcharge. And what you do is you can call it a COVID protection service charge, because if they see you going through all these things, these precautions, cleaning, longer distance or dividers or whatever it is, they're not going to have a problem paying that money. I wouldn't have a problem paying that money. One of the things I read this morning, and then I heard I saw an article on it, was about how a lot of people are going to be afraid to go back to salons and spas. If you're putting all these things in place and your advertising is going to be how COVID preventative you are with all these new measures that you're putting in place, people won't feel afraid to come back to your salon. So with that, my thoughts on, I would say at least a $10 service charge. Not raising your price, but a $10 service charge. The same, I've said this before, the same as Green Circle charges a recycle charge, right? If you participate with Green Circle salons. Now we're going to do a COVID protection service charge. Okay, that's what we're going to call it. You can rename it whatever you want, but keep it along those lines, that you are protecting the client by going through these extra measures and it's costing you money. So you're going to do that. With all these in place, right, the dividers, room dividers, spacing out your people, proper cleaning, masking, checking your employees also for their temperature when they come in until they come out with this supposed new instant test that you're going to be able to see if people are immune to the virus. That's going to be the new norm. So I don't want you to be surprised and think that you're going to go back to your salons and operate the same way things used to happen. It's not going to happen, folks, or you're not going to have any clients. Clients are going to flock to the salons that are taking the extra precautions. I guarantee you. So if you think you're going back in a couple weeks, business as usual, you're sadly mistaken. As you know, a coach, mentor, and creator of this group, I want you to be forward thinking during the Beauty Biz Reset. And I want you to be prepared for these things. Some of them are going to cost you money. That's a sad reality. Hopefully you're getting loans that will offset these things. But I wanted to get this out there today to kind of settle the dust, settle people down into what's going to become the new norm for a little while. You know, people could argue with me, say it's only going to be a couple months, maybe, God willing, right? But in reality, I think it's probably going to be a couple of years before clients are comfortable without those precautions. So let's get that stuff done immediately. I didn't have the Zoom for everybody to share. I'm recording this and then it's on Facebook Live in the group right now. So if you have some questions in Facebook Live, when I hang up on the Zoom, I'm going to jump back into Facebook Live and answer your questions on there. Don't forget tonight is Jay Williams. I apologize, it's been a long week. Jay will motivate you, I promise. He's awesome. You're going to enjoy it, 8 o'clock tonight. It's best if you jump on the Zoom. If you can't jump on the Zoom, then Facebook's okay, but Zoom is always better performing than Facebook. Okay, so thanks everybody. Sorry to interrupt your day. I just thought that was important to get out to everybody. Have a great day, and I will see you tonight. I'm going to jump on the Facebook Live now just to see if anybody has any questions.